Good day to you all, Greenbeak here, and welcome back to another episode of Wetherby. So in this series we are trying to create a realistic European city here in Cities Skylines, and we're doing an okay job so far in my opinion. This is episode 3, and today we're gonna do some work at the central station. We're actually gonna finish up the central station. That's why this is by far the longest episode we ever had so far. It is roughly around 27 minutes, I do think, including this time lapse and of course the cinematics at the end. The asset that we're using for the central station is a very old one. In fact, it is the one by BadPeanut, and it's been on the workshop as long as I can remember. Actually, it's probably one of the most subscribed items there as well, because yeah, it's one of the best trained assets out there, because you don't need any kind of mods to make it work, or you don't need any kind of different props or anything. So it's a very nice, very clean, very good asset. And there are 3 buildings that you can clip together, and you can make it as big or small as possible, whatever you like. So really like this asset, and I thought it fit well, because the reason here, you can also create a train station which leads or makes it so that the train track just continues, or you can make it like an end station like this is. And you probably guessed right, this train station is inspired by the one in Brighton, and that one also is like a end station, like end of the road. You don't continue from there. So for example, if you're in London or anything and you continue or take the train down towards Brighton will be the very last stop, because basically you can't go any further south. So that's the reason behind that. And I want to make this city as nice and as pretty as possible. However, I also want to make it like work. So I want to play the game as well, if you do understand. I don't want it to be a total mess. So I want the game mechanics to still be intact, if you know what I mean. So I'm building here a cargo train station, because, well, if you're playing the game, like if you're playing the real game, the vanilla game, you're gonna need a cargo train station, and so do we. So that is just to basically just avoid too much traffic on the roads, because I think that will be an issue anyways. Because the thing is, with most of English cities, is that there is basically no highways going through. They're just going either mostly they go around the city, and that is basically based on how old they are. Because when you look at newer cities in like the US, those highways, they basically were able to build them because the cities were so new. And you know, English cities have been there for, you know, centuries almost, and tearing down huge parts of cities just to get some highway to go through, it's not really a good idea. So that's why you can see very little like highways going directly through most of English cities. You see me using a lot of these parking lot roads, and first of all, they are really good. However, I do think they might be too dark in my opinion, and I can probably change that by putting some decals or something over it. However, I don't want to go crazy and just put decals everywhere. But for an area like this, they probably do work. I feel like dark parking lots are more like an American thing. I feel like in most European cities you maybe park on the pavement, not like in the same texture as the road itself. You can see here on camera now that I'm building something custom. It's a custom Starbucks, and the reason why I made this is just because I want to hide the entrance to the metro line, because this train station has a metro line attached to it. It's underground, of course. However, it clearly says, like, it's a building nearby which says metro, and I didn't want like an underground train network in my city. I felt like that was a bit too much. You know, this city won't be that big, so I wanted to not incorporate that, and I also wanted to hide, you know, that part where it says actually metro, because it would be a bit stupid, wouldn't it, to like have a building next to the train station where it says metro, however there's no metro lines or anything in the city. So I used these walls, network tiling walls by Lost Gecko, just to really just hide that part of the train station, and worked out pretty great. And I also just plopped in these windows just to make it look a bit more realistic. So yeah, I'm really happy with the result actually. Yeah, and these walls that I'm talking about from Lost Gecko, they're called Concrete Retaining Wall Network on Steam Workshop if you're interested. And you will see me use a lot of them in this episode, and I do also think in the next episode. I didn't want to go too crazy with them, but I now realize that I probably have done, because it's just such a great way to like hide different parts. And in order to use these concrete retaining walls, you're gonna need, of course, the mod by Ronix, which is called Network Tiling, I do believe. So if you feel like you want to use them, then please go ahead. When I'm recording this, the new DLC, the Parklife DLC, hasn't been yet released. I am gonna buy that one, I do believe, because I feel like that is probably the update, or that DLC, that will bring the most to the game since, in my opinion, mass transit. I didn't buy Green Cities just because I didn't think it brought enough to the game. So if you look at mass transit, or yeah, I think it's called mass transit, it brought what did it bring again? It brought ferries, of course, blimps, however I never used those, and also these cable cars, and probably a lot of other things as well that I just forgot now. However, that is probably the best DLC in my opinion. You know, Snowfall is okay if you like playing on that kind of map. Snowfall is great in the way that it introduced trams. However, the new one, the Parklife DLC, I think that will bring a lot of change to the game, and how how you can play. I just watched the trailer again, and you know, so many cool things added to the game. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm really looking forward to implementing that a bit in this series. If not, I'm gonna definitely do that in my other series, which you should probably check out. It's a Let's Play series, so if you're interested in that, then go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description, and I'll try to remember adding like one of those info cards. If not, then just go ahead and check out my channel. It's always gonna be there. You're gonna see me place down a lot of hotels near this train station, and the reason for that is just because I thought it was realistic. It is a lot of hotels in Brighton near the train station, and in basically most cities around the world, I think, whenever there's like a train station or a harbor or like a passenger harbor or an airport, so there's gonna be a hotel pretty nearby. And the hotels I'm placing down, I already placed down a hotel called I think it's called Van der Valk or something, and I also placed down a Best Western and an Ibis hotel. In the next one I'll place down even more, but you know, these are the three big ones that I'm gonna place down. And I also, especially in the first one, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of some custom signs to make it into another hotel, like a Clarion hotel, which is Clarion is like a known chain of hotels. So just adding a bit of like extra depth to the realism there. And I also want to make this part of town near the train station pretty like new, so that's why I'm placing down like these pretty new looking hotels and a supermarket, just because I feel like I don't need to place down these old brick buildings everywhere, because you know, some parts will definitely be newer, and this part will in my opinion look or be one of those new kinds of areas. Now in the next episode we will do a bit more work on our residential demand. We're gonna make people move in, because right now it says it's got 24 people in the city, which I can't really understand why. I can't really remember placing down any residential buildings. However, I probably did. But yeah, next time we'll definitely start off our work on the residential area and just make people move in, and that's already been done. It's already been built, and in my opinion it looks a lot better this way, because now there's people actually walking on the streets and everything, and there are people riding their bikes and everything, and it looks like 100 times better in my opinion. So I can't wait to really like continue and get more people in, because it truly looks a lot better this way. And also the episode after that again, I think I will do create a park or something, and then the next one, this is just me thinking out loud, but I think I'm gonna do some live detailing, just going over some areas and maybe just building, you know, or like detailing these roads or something, because in my opinion these roads, they don't look so English now. However, I do have the props for that will I can go on and change. I can make it look a bit better, so I might create an entire episode just on detailing those roads and just detailing in general. So what I'm working on now is a very cool area in my opinion. It's you can already see it in the like the intro to the series. This area with these I think I can call them like back patios or like a backyard deck or something. Anyways, it's entirely custom, you can see, and it's a very nice area because I just went ahead and detailed it, and it looked like every house has its own patio on the back there. The view isn't great, it's right to the parking lot, but you can see me later down placing some props, like some nice chairs and even a barbecue or something, just to make it look a bit more realistic and make it look like someone actually is living there. So actually this is probably one of my favorite areas that I worked on in this episode, just because I did this completely on my own, and yeah, just I don't know what my inspiration was, I just suddenly felt for doing so. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I already used it a couple times I'm using it in the cinematics, and I also use it in the intro, of course, you probably see. So I like to show it off, okay. Now if you've seen my other episodes, then maybe you can see like some difference on the lighting, and maybe on some like the shadows in this episode compared to the two others. And the truth is, I still am working on trying to find the best LUT and trying to find the best settings on Ultimate Eye Candy. I think I have found it right now. I also recently downloaded the mod that adds like custom shadows. I can't really, it's post-processing or something. I recently downloaded, and where I re-downloaded it because I had some issues with it before. However, now it's actually pretty okay again. So that may be the reason why it's a lot more, maybe a little darker right now, just because it adds a bit more shadow to it. And it also might be something with what the time is at day. I think this is around maybe 4 in the afternoon, which in my opinion brings out the best lighting. And it's always a bit difficult to find, the best settings, and I think I will continue just changing it up a bit. However, I do think something like this would probably be the best part, even though looking at it right now it might be looking a bit too like, it looks like it's like a sunset or something going on. Anyways, I might change how the lighting and everything is in the future, so just bear with me, okay. So now I'm working on the area right outside the train station, and I wanted to make it look like a big open area, like a sort of like a city center or something. And you can see me later down this episode that I placed down these what are they called again? These like park people generators right in the middle of this this center, or this open area, and you know, hope that people, you know, find their way to this area and basically use it, because I want a lot of people to go back and forth, and eventually it will of course be like that, because you know, this is a central station and a lot of trains will come in. However, at this moment, you know, the trains aren't connected to the outside world. However, I might do that off camera and see how it turns out, because maybe then I get more foot traffic, and that is basically what I hope for, because you know, the more people are walking around, the better, really. So and I'm also making sure that no cars can drive on these roads around this open area. Some can, like garbage trucks and like police cars and those kind of vehicles. However, they usually don't, and you know, I just want to create something like a nice shopping street you see in most European cities, where cars aren't allowed, only vehicles to deliver, you know, to deliver like goods to the store are allowed to drive, and of course, you know, police and whatnot. So not many minutes until this episode ends. I'm gonna leave you now for the rest of the time lapse, so enjoy that one, and I'll talk to you right before we end off this episode, okay? So we are nearing the end of this episode. Just basically placed down a lot of decals and props at the end here to make it look a bit more realistic and make it look like people actually use this area. Also made like a bicycle parking lot or whatever right outside the train station. Yeah, because in my opinion it would be a nice way to, you know, get to work or something. You take your bike and you go to the train station, then you lock your bike over there and you just hop on a train to wherever basically. So yeah, and also place down a statue or several statues and some nice cobble decals in this huge open area right outside the train station. But anyways, I want to thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you are interested, and also consider leaving a like and some comments. That is also always appreciated. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye.